And these are the slides for you to review, to summarize what I just teach you. What is O horizon, E horizon? I do not expect you to understand E, but if you're interested, you can take a look. B is subsoil, C is weathered rock. Okay, I do not expect you to remember R, but it's good to understand that. Now let's look at different types of soil. The first one is grassland, the middle one is forest, and the desert soil is this one. And we can see the top layer, the A layer, is really thin in desert soil. That means that layer does not have a lot of nutrition. Okay, so the topsoil is really important for the plants to grow, and it supports most of the biological activity on the surface of the earth. And you can see that the desert soil has a very thin layer of the A. And forest soil, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Think about the tropical rainforest. Okay. Actually, the A layer is very thin also. Why? Because of the weather, because it's warm, okay? So things get decomposed really fast on the surface. And they have a lot of rain in the tropical rainforest, which means the leaching is very high. The leaching activity is very high. That's why the topsoil of the forest soil is not that fertile as we thought. So if we burn down the forest and try to convert it to a cropland, that is really not a very wise decision. Okay, now let's look at the grassland. It has the deepest, right? The deepest topsoil. So the A layer is like this thick. So this type of land is most fertile. Now let's reveal the two features of tropical rainforest soil. Okay. And the first is high temperature, that is high activity. Okay. And the high rainfall. That determines the A layer is very thin. And another example is a mountain and a delta area. Okay. So look at the mountain area. Because of this topography, and because the wind power, the A horizon is really thin, so not much can stay here. Okay, they're all going down. And the B horizon is about 25 centimeters. If we look at this fertile soil here, this looks really good, right? The A horizon is 100, it's like tenfold of the soil here. And the B horizon is even thinner. So this is a region we plant our crops. This is a very fertile soil. So how fertile the soil is also decided where they are, right? It's decided by where they are. The last part of the lecture is manageable, sustainable land management. The first one I'm going to talk is the soil conservation practices. If we think we have big pieces of land, think about how big the world is. This is comparable to think about the water resources. If we think how much water we have, we think we have the luxury of using the limitless water. Actually, it's not, right? Only a very tiny portion of the water in the hydrosphere can be used by humans. And the same thing applies to the land, to the soil. We have a lot of lands, but not all of them we can use. And actually, there's a very small percentage of all the lands you can use without worry about taking care of the lands. That's only 2% in this country. Okay? And almost half, you cannot use this to raise crops at all. And we have another half, okay, that needs good taken care of. Those soil, they can be used, but you need to take good care of them. So this is a worldwide United States Africa continent of the land that's suitable for growing crops. Average worldwide is 11% of the land surface is suitable for crops. That is not much, right? United States is better. Okay, agriculture here is very good. 20% land you can use for crops. Why African people suffer? Because they don't have much land suitable for crops. But we can do something to conserve our soil. Okay, the first thing I want you to understand is tilling. When you read your textbook, there are a few stories about tilling. Tilling is breaking up the soil and turning it over. That's simple, period. But you should pay attention to how you till the ground. The conservation practices include terracing. We make those slopes. This works for the very steep slope of the area, okay? And sometimes we don't till at all. Why? We want to protect the topsoil, and we want to supplement the topsoil with nutrients, with those decay stuff, decomposed, right? Dead crops, leaves, stems. When they decompose, they also maintain the moisture of the soil. That's called the no-till agriculture. We can plant trees. We can have windbreaks to prevent the soil erosion, okay, and also increase the biodiversity. We can also cover the crops, and we only rotate the crops, the strips of the crops. Those are all the alternative methods compared to the traditional tilling. Actually, I want to give a few more examples how to conserve soil. One is contour farming. You put this angle here. So the soil, this is on the gentle slopes. So the soil do not go down, do not wash by the water or carried away by the wind. This effectively prevents the soil erosion. And the strip farming is a practice of alternating strips of closely sown crops. This is only 2 minutes, and this video is really fun. It's in Holland, and it's in another language, but I believe this is the best example to demonstrate why stream farming is a very smart choice. And I have a student a year ago in my class. Generations of that students, they are farmers, and the students say, hey, we don't know why a lot of crops like soybean, but if we plant soybean close to those crops are very happy. And the reason I can tell you is soybean, in their roots, they have those fantastic nitrogen fixing bacteria. It's like natural fertilizer factory. Okay, so if you plant your crops close to one strip of your crops, one strips of soybean, and one strips of your crops, and one strip of soybean, and they benefit each other, and also that kind of practice decrease the tax from the pests. And the protection of waterways. If you have nice vegetation along your waterways and prevent the erosion, and you slow down the water flow, okay? You retain the water, you help the water recharge the aquifers underneath. And this is a very smart way, okay? That is, protect your waterways with vegetation. And I mentioned this before, the sustainable forest management. Okay, deforestation is a huge problem now. It's a huge environmental concern worldwide. So we want to manage the forest in a smarter way. Instead of cutting a whole patch of the forest, we can do small patches like this. Or we can selectively take out the trees. Of course, this is not the most economic way, but this is very effective to prevent soil erosion. All right, I will stop here.